So you didn't think it was going to be a big deal that President Trump got reelected? Well, and you thought, oh, your industry is not going to be affected. Your area of law not going to be affected. Well, let's take a look here. Okay, we've had some recent presidential actions here. March 14th, we have another one. March 6th, President Trump, as far as I know, has issued out these actions against these two law firms. Now, if you know about another law firm has an action like this, or some memo has leaked, please let us know in the comments. Contact us. But the first one, as far as I know, and this got alerted to me first on LinkedIn. So thank you for those who posted about this initially. If you ever wonder, like, oh, Trump is not gonna do anything about anything related to Hillary Clinton, not gonna try to get some retribution. Man, oh, he's not gonna do anything to those people involved in the prosecution of him or the attempt to prosecute him and his convictions. Well, or maybe even he's not gonna do anything about the people who got convicted for the Capital Six rioters. Well, y'all are wrong who may have thought that. Okay, so you're looking here that yeah, President Trump administration is taking action against these two law firms, but it's not just these two law firms, but this specific video is only about these two law firms. So you might be wondering in the first place, like, why would these law firms, like, why would they go specifically against these two big law firms? Because, and why would these law firms be specifically be potentially given? And that is because at least one of them is notably shared already that they get revenue from the federal government because they work on contracts related to the federal government. But let's look at the Perkins Coie real quick. All right. So essentially, then this one has also security clearance. So they threatened to take it away. They threatened to break the contracts. And I actually just had a networking meeting with other attorneys who work in GovCon, government contracts, and it's an uphill battle. It's possible, of course, even though the government has broken contracts. Of course, in a legal space, you can sue them. Okay, and this situation is a little bit different. Initially, it's through administrative law, so you have to go take the steps to remediate those violations. It's a breach of contract by the government, but still, it's an uphill battle. All right, so it could take months, it could take years to make whole for that law firm. But in this case, for Perkins Coie, they're not backing down. So much so that a judge already blocked Trump from enforcing that order against this law firm, Perkins Coie, and obviously already pissed off President Trump because they made it known they want to get this judge to recuse or kick her off this case. Now, unfortunately, when it comes to this other law firm, Paul Weiss, they ended up giving in. I'll share the links to this down below in the description box, but you got to take a look here. They're also got contracts with the government. Okay, so that was March 14th. Now, of course, you read this, you're like, oh, read the background. Like, oh, global law firms have for years played an outsized role in undermining the judicial process and the destruction of the bedrock of American principles. Is that true? Many have engaged in activities that make our communities less safe, increase burdens on local businesses, limit constitutional freedoms, and degrade the quality of American elections. Degrade the quality of American elections? Is that true, Paul Weiss? All right. So, and then it goes down below here talking about this that this law firm hired this quote unquote unethical attorney, Mark Pomerantz, who had joined the Manhattan DA's office to quote unquote manufacture a prosecution against me. So if this is not direct evidence for those who thought like, oh, President Trump is not going to do certain things, well, man, this is signed by him. It's very clear this president is pissing his pants. You know, he's not he's going to do anything possible to those who are against him. It's been very clear since day one in his first term. Okay. So now this doesn't mean give in. I'm recording this video because we need to help each other. If for some reason you individually as an attorney if for some reason your law firm has been or being attacked by the White House or any other government agency, please know you're not alone, that there's support out there. Reach out. I'm just one small potato, but the more we talk about this and show support to each other, you need to know you're not alone, okay? And we can fight back, because my field is immigration and we're being attacked every single day. And an action just got dropped against us today, which I'll record another separate video about that. Okay, so now we go here. So since this date on March 14th, just a week later, just a week later, this law firm, Paul Weiss, gave in. Okay, they made some kind of agreement. It details part of it here, if not all of it. It said earlier this week, Paul Weiss, the law firm, indicated that it will engage in a remarkable change of course, specifically that they acknowledge the wrongdoing of its former partner, Mark Pomerantz, and has agreed to a number of policy changes to promote equality, justice, and principles that keep our nation strong, including adopting a policy of political neutrality with respect to client selection, which, by the way, they're a law firm, they're a business. They can select whichever client they want, regardless of politics. Attorney hiring, taking on a wide range of pro bono matters, representing a full political spectrum, committing to merit based hiring, promotion, and retention. But again, you might be wondering, like, well, it's a private law practice. Why? How can the federal government control them in that to that extent? Again, it's because, although it's of course very concerning, it's because they get contracts from the federal government. Okay, so if the federal government believes that a company or law firm is discriminating, this is why push the needle per se, push the envelope. Okay, and issue out this action. Now, do I agree with that? Of course not. The other concerning part is this: dedicating the equivalent of $40 million in pro bono legal services during my term in office to support causes including assisting our nation's veterans, fairness in the justice system, and combating anti Semitism and other similar initiatives. It also says here down below, this development should give Americans hope. Give Americans hope? Okay, if that's the case, I'm going to be curious. 1 year later, 2 years later, 3 years later, by the end of Trump's second term, I'm going to be curious and go back to this video to see and look at other news articles to see if the White House actually forced Paul Weiss to take on some cases for the veterans. Take on some typical, what we call, like, legal aid cases, maybe housing issues, landlord tenant issues. Maybe they need some people need wills. Let's check that at the end of Trump's term, okay? Or is it just going to be Trump's particular unique cases related to him specifically? Let's stay tuned about that. If you are somehow affected by this, of course, or you believe you will be affected by this order in the future, I'm sure you won't make a comment down below, but contact our law firm. Let's reach out. Let's support each other. Connect with me on LinkedIn, okay? Stay tuned. I'm sure this is not the end of it. Although we hope this is the end of it, there's more to come, I'm sure. Stay safe. Good night.